Good morning, 59 degrees at 7:40 on this Friday, September 22nd. I'm Scott Stanford. Here's what's happening. It's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of Friday. We start out fine. Things get nasty for the start of the fall weekend. Heartbreak on Long Island as a bus carrying high school kids from Farmingdale crashes in upstate New York. 2 adults were killed, 5 students critical.
It's simply devastating. I mean, it's like bad. I never thought this could happen.
We're going to have team coverage straight ahead. The death of a 1-year-old girl in Brooklyn now being treated as a homicide. Police are questioning the parents. For the first time ever, there's going to be a White House office of gun violence prevention. 10-year-old boy and his 11-year-old sister go missing. They end up 200 miles away from home in a car they drove themselves. Checking sports. Giants lose big to the Niners. Mets lost also. Yankees won. AccuWeather, nasty stuff getting ready to kick in for the weekend. Dean DeVore's got the forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Wins news time, 7:41. We get you back out to the roads. Once again, here's Karen Stewart.
All right, we're checking what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. 45 for the George Upper, 30 for the lower, 35 to 40 Lincoln and Holland tunnels. Over at the East River, the RFK is starting to slow down now across the span pretty heavily. We've got Upper East Side delays, and we've got delays building on the Bronx span, too. The inbound 59th Street Bridge is busy, primarily from Northern Boulevard. It's just at a short delay, but it's more of a delay than Queens Boulevard has. And the inbound Queens Midtown tunnel is doing fairly well. The Williamsburg is heavy. On the city side, we may even have an accident off the Williamsburg Bridge in the city. And the inbound Brooklyn Battery Tunnel is busy, while the inbound Gowanus to the BQE eastbound, moderate traffic from Fort Hamilton Parkway to 39th, and then jam from around 39th Street up into Atlantic Avenue. The Bell Parkway on the westbound side is dealing with traffic around Springfield Boulevard. It looks like eastbound there might be an accident on the Belt in Springfield. We have alternate side of the street parking rules and regulations in effect today, and it's a gridlock alert day. And our next report is 7:51. I'm Karen Stewart, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, a tropical storm headed up the East Coast. This first weekend of fall looks like a nice little washout, Dean DeVore.
Scott, whether it gets named Ophelia or not, this storm will break our hearts this weekend. If you wanted a perfect fall weekend, you're not going to get it. It is going to be raining off and on, I think, all the way tomorrow, Sunday, and even into Monday now at this point. Now, one good thing is that it looks like the storm is tracking a little bit more inland from where we were thinking it could be over the last couple of days. That will take some of the sting out of the coastal problems. So we're still going to have rough surf, some rip currents, and some high tide coastal flooding, especially through Saturday. And then this just becomes really an off and on rainmaker, it looks like to us, Sunday into Monday. Could see a couple, 2, 3, 4 inches of rain over the entire period. So keep it locked here as we go into this wet, soggy weekend right here on New York's weather station, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
All right, thank you, Dino. An investigation now into the company that operated the charter bus that crashed yesterday in Orange County, killing 2 adults and injuring several Farmingdale high school kids headed to a band camp in Pennsylvania.
The early indication is a blowout might have triggered this deadly bus crash in Orange County. State Police Lieutenant Colonel Richard Mazzone.
Preliminary information indicates a failure of a front tire may have been a contributing factor to this accident.
The NTSB will conduct a thorough review of the Regency charter bus and the road. The bus, full of freshmen from Farmingdale High School on their way to band camp, veered off of I-84 in Wawayanda. The highway is 2 lanes in each direction, no guardrail. The bus tumbled down a 50-foot ravine between east and westbound lanes. It landed on its side. Rescuers used a ladder to reach students and adults who were trapped inside. The Orange County executive says rescuers regularly respond to truck accidents in this area. Sean Adams, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM at State Police Headquarters in Middletown.
Gina Pelletieri was known as Ms. P. She was the marching band director here at Farmingdale High School. She was also a single mother of a 2-year-old. She is being remembered along with retired teacher Beatrice Ferrari.
During band camp, that whole week, all the classes would be empty because all the kids would be at band camp having the time of their lives. I'd see videos over Snapchat and social media of all the girls with Miss P and Miss F.
Pelletieri taught music for close to 2 decades.
She was the heart and soul of this band program. She's very sweet, caring, loving, enthusiastic, bubbly.
77-year-old Ferrari was called the grandmother of the Farmingdale High School band. She was a chaperone on trips. School is opened here at the high school today. Yellow police tape surrounds the front of the school. Sophia Hall, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM in Farmingdale, Long Island.
Winds News Time 7:45 in Brooklyn. A man on a bicycle was killed when he was hit by a yellow school bus filled with young girls. All the girls were under 5 years old from a local yeshiva. The bus was in Borough Park, as police say it was making a right turn on a Fort Hamilton Parkway yesterday afternoon when it hit the 44-year-old bicyclist riding along 41st Street. He died at the scene. A 1-year-old girl who was found unconscious in an apartment on St. Mark's Avenue in Prospect Lefferts Gardens last Friday has died. Police are now questioning the parents. Investigators say the little girl suffered trauma to the body, and they are now treating this case as a homicide. Trapdoors and floors. More drugs found at the Bronx Daycare Center, where a 1-year-old died from a fentanyl overdose.
While conducting a search warrant on Wednesday, NYPD detectives recovered a large quantity of fentanyl, other narcotics, and drug paraphernalia in a trap floor in the play area at the daycare center. Bronx District Attorney Darcel Clark.
More evidence is being recovered each and every day. My office is dealing with the homicide aspect of it because that was a murder of a young baby and the attempted murder of 3, as well as the drugs.
A Bronx grand jury has returned an indictment against 36-year-old Gray Mendez and her tenant, 41-year-old Carlisto Acevedo Brito, who remain in federal custody. Marla Diamond, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM at the Bronx District Attorney's Office.
As the White House looks to reduce the threat of gun violence in the streets, the president will introduce an Office of Gun Violence Protection.
Part of the role of this newly created office is to implement parts of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act and also parts of the president's executive orders on guns. And one of the things that they said in this background press call is the reason why they're doing this now is to get the implementation right.
Correspondent James Willis Inman, that is the Gun Violence Prevention Office. On Capitol Hill, it's a race to avoid a painful government shutdown. Yesterday, things didn't really go so well.
Just 10 days till the deadline for a federal government shutdown, and a bill that is usually easy to pass collapsed on the U.S. House floor. It's an ominous sign. It was a bill that set up funding for the U.S. military, traditionally popular in every corner of America, but it included some funding for Ukraine, and some Republicans opposed that. The bill collapsed with no timetable for returning it and tougher bills still to come.
Correspondent Scott McFarland. Ukraine President Zelensky with an urgent message to U.S. lawmakers. He needs help in order to save his country.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky made his second wartime visit to the White House.
Together with our partners and allies, the American people are determined to see to it that we do all we can to ensure the world stands with you, and that is our overwhelming objective.
It comes as President Biden is pushing Congress to approve an additional $24 billion in military and humanitarian aid to Ukraine.
When it comes to weapons, we will discuss everything with a special emphasis on air defense.
Zelensky spent the morning making his case on Capitol Hill in a series of private meetings.
Natalie Brand reporting the White House has asked for more funding. Republicans have raised concerns about spending and accountability. Meanwhile, President Biden speaking at the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute Gala last night.
President Biden mentioning mass shootings that murdered Hispanic Americans at schools and stores in Texas, saying he will not stop fighting to stop them.
Now we have to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. I did it once as a senator. We'll do it again.
The president urging voters to elect more House and Senate Democrats to end that blockade of gun control bills. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Well, a couple of Long Islanders, Tom and Amy Gallen, walking 300 miles from the U.S. Military Academy in West Point all the way to Arlington National Cemetery to honor the veterans who died in the military.
We are walking on behalf of all military families, but in particular, Teresa Arciola and her family, and
her son Mike.
Yeah, Scott, the 49ers outgained them by almost triple, 441 yards to 150.
That's Mark Renee talking about the Giants last night. We'll get to Mark in just a second. We're going to head back out to the roads. Winds News Time, 7:50.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with things I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of the disease called geographic atrophy, or GA. his struggle with vision loss.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on my commute to work as I listen to 1010 Winds in the New York Metropolitan area. Once again, I just want to let everyone know, if you just landed on this video, I understand this is not the most exciting video, not the most entertaining video in terms of what YouTube offers. I understand that I'm driving the same streets almost every day, but keep in mind that this is about documenting our local history. I mentioned this in a previous video. The internet will always save a lot of things. They will always save the big news stories for future generations. It's these local news stories that get lost in time. If we don't document it here today, a lot of these smaller news stories that impact the local area will get lost. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening and joining the ATF community, All Things Fred. We've got a car there that wants to, I guess, cut in front of everybody, and there's one right behind him. You know, you usually get one person doing it, and then a lot of people want to join in. So anyway, be careful out there on the roads, be patient, wait your turn, and get to your destination alive. That's a PSA from All Things Fred. See you on the next video.